Hello and welcome to Justice Losers, the most unqualified podcast exploring irrelevant questions about entertainment. I'm your host, Preston, joined as always by my delightful co-host,
Matt.
Matt, what should people do?
Like, subscribe, and check out our Instagram highlights.
Yep.
That's at Just Us Losers Pod. So we kind of have an announcement.
Yeah.
We're doing a little restructuring.
We're restructuring the way that we do episodes starting this week.
Mm-hmm.
Based on a lot of discussion among us and a couple other people who are very important in the way that how we do things.
Mm-hmm.
We've decided to kind of spread out the episodes in a way. It's just we don't have the time to put as much effort into research and watching movies and reading literal books like I do for this kind of stuff to give a genuine quality discussion that's warranted by... even though our podcast is, by the intro, the most unqualified podcast, we still want to have intelligent discussion. So what we're essentially going to do is, it is now going to alternate week by week of kind of a Just Us Losers. It's an episode of the Watch Been Up To's of the two of us and the news, where it's a little bit more of just me and Matt talking and being friends and stuff. And,
the sort of discussions we had before the podcasts that our friends got really sick of.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
forced us to start a podcast so we could compartmentalize that part of our lives away from everyone.
Exactly. And then the next week will be solely discussion. It will be there will be no Watch Been Up To's or news. It'll be an intro and then breaking a discussion.
High quality podcast content.
Yes.
Inserted directly into your ears.
Matt.
Preston.
What hast thou been up to?
Numero uno, the best movie I watched this week. Unforgiven.
Unforgiven. By whom?
Unforgiven, released in 1992, directed by Clint Eastwood.
Wow, that long ago. Well, I guess Clint Eastwood's super old.
Yeah, no, this was not his first movie. This was not even like his fifth or sixth movie. This was his big breakout as a director. But he was directing movies as early as like the mid-70s.
Yeah.
And he's still making them to this day.
That he is.
Yeah, he's old now. So this one, I've heard this movie described as the Western so good it killed the genre forever, which is kind of true.
Oh, wow. All right.
Okay,
so is it the Western or the spaghetti Western?
Western.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like American Western.
Yeah. Which I've always had a bit of a soft spot for Westerns, and as I've grown older and more cynical, I've grown a soft spot for anti-Westerns. Which is like No Country for Old Men, or the book Blood Meridian. I guess just Cormac McCarthy in general. So Unforgiven, it's very much an anti-Western, and like Eastwood deliberately set out to make it so. Story follows, there's this old retired gunslinger played by Eastwood, of course. And he gets recruited to go kill a couple of cowboys who carved up a prostitute's face.
Fun.
Yeah, always
Delightful.
good. Always a good time. He rounds up his best pal Morgan Freeman, and goes along for the ride with this kind of young, cocky kid who's supposed to be like the kind of the archetype of the gunslinger, a little bit. And they go up and they encounter Gene Hackman, who's the sheriff in the town.
Gene Hackman.
Yeah, the original Lex.
Yeah.
Probably not the original. I'm sure there was one in like some 40s serial or
Probably.
something.
Yeah,
but
there definitely was.
yeah,
I like the original Lex.
Yeah, the original one in our hearts.
Before Kevin Spacey.
Yeah. No, it's just Unforgiven is fantastic. It undermines the tropes, but like it plays into the right ones, and it tells this story about just like, if you imagine sort of if you take like a typical sort of fantastical Western style story with the lone gunslinger and he rides up into the sunset after shooting the bad guys, and like you think about like the actual violence and horrible things that were done and the effects that would have on people, and it digs into that without like getting preachy. It's a lot of just little one-off one-liners and throwaway lines, and just even just the cinematography. Like Eastwood has a discussion with another character at some point. He's just sitting outside a cabin and there's just this snowy expanse around him. Just a gorgeous movie and so well done.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly recommend it. Just absolutely great. That's like a 9 out of 10 for me.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. I have watched one movie. Gone Baby Gone.
Oh, good one. Yeah,
Have you
good
seen
choice.
that? You saw
I
that
have.
one?
Yes.
Boy, what a moral quandary of a movie.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Directed by Ben Affleck.
His directorial debut.
But no, Gone Baby Gone. It's about a little girl who goes missing, whose mother is a junkie.
Yeah.
She goes missing, and people and like the police aren't doing a whole like they're all trying, but the aunt of the baby, that is the baby's junkie mom's brother's wife. So the mom's sister-in-law, baby's aunt, comes to Casey Affleck. She's like, you do it because the police, like the baby's mom is like around a bunch of junkies that are just like afraid of the police and don't want to talk to him. So she's like, I'm gonna go to an independent investigator, see if they can like talk to the people and like try to like get more information the police can't. And then so he ends up partnering with a couple detectives who are the ones kind of actively on the case. He and his partner, who I don't know who plays her. I really liked it because it does a really good job of revealing things. Like it's a mystery that it unravels, but it's not a mystery that I could tell early on that it's not a mystery that you can solve on your own earlier.
Right.
It just reveals the beats as it does, and you like. I couldn't catch foreshadowing. I couldn't really call who it was.
Right.
Because it just does a good job of kind of hiding that and letting. Yeah. And it's like, I'm gonna tell the story.
Right.
I don't want you to get ahead of it, and it does a really good job of that. And it kind of it's a spoiler to explain what the moral gray area is in the movie. Right. But it does a fantastic job of actually leaving that still morally gray at the end. Yeah. Because the whole time I was thinking the themes, and calling back to our themes discussion, the best movie, capital L literature, or it's like, what is it? A great movie makes the audience ask the question. Yep. A good movie asks the question, and then a bad movie answers the question. Right. And the whole time I was like, man, they can really wrap this up and just like answer the question. But then by the end of it, like credits rolled after a solid 30-second shot that you're just like, I still don't know. Like, that is morally gray. Yeah. And I really liked it. Yeah.
It's a really solid movie.
It's that given that really my only experience with Ben Affleck is Batfleck, this just made me respect him a whole lot more. But no, it was really good. It bummed me out. It does does a really good job of kind of posing a development in the movie, but it's a development that you would kind of just go, this probably isn't something. And then they kind of do a parallel of that development and kind of prove to you it's like, yeah. And you're like, oh no. And so the story does a very good job of reinforcing, like forcing you to think what it wants you to think, whether or not you kind of meta think it. You're like, movies don't do this. Right. It takes that away. It takes away any kind of expectations of entertainment, to tell a story it wants to tell. It does a really good job of taking control of its own story. Yeah. I'm realizing now the more I talk about it. So
that's a sign of effective directing.
Wholeheartedly recommend it. If you really love kids, to a kind of a painful and anxiety ridden degree, maybe not. But I mean, like, I'm going to stop there. I feel like if I go any other direction of trying to dig myself out of a hole or dig further, it's just going to start spoiling things. Yep. I'm just going to leave it there.
Good enough.
We've got some news we're going to talk about.
Let's talk
fill
about
out the rest of this episode. Let's talk about some news.
Woo! All right. I don't know what that was. Anyway.
News. What are the things we've done that's happened this week?
All right. I guess the big one of the week, new Suicide Squad trailer. So we got the red
That's the big one of the week?
Sure.
I mean, Kong and Godzilla came out.
Yeah.
That's kind of big.
One of them is big, or they're all big, or the one with the big monsters is the biggest. We don't know.
But Suicide Squad, that's
Suicide
what I'm more
Squad.
excited
So we
about.
got the Red Band trailer last week.
Yep.
We got a new Green Band trailer with some new footage and some
Yep.
new stuff going on this week.
Yes.
Some of the same old classic hits. And
Yep. You got not Robert Downey Jr. Why did I say the Harley Quinn saying the thing about personalized plates?
How did you
I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. And the one thing that I noticed is we actually got to see Polka Dot Man do thing.
Yeah, we got to see him dot his polkas.
You got dot his polkas. It seems like they're gonna avoid the really comic booky, campy, like each dot has a specific, like each color has a specific role, and maybe like avoid like the transporting or whatever. He probably just has like exploding dots. That might be the only thing.
That'd be so boring.
That'd be boring, but also he's insane. So I think the character it's not going to be an interesting power set. It's going to be an interesting character, and it's
David
Desmalchian or
I'm not sure.
I'm excited to see that character solely because of just the like we're all gonna die, and he's like, I hope so. And then someone's like, oh, they do the peacemakers like, I stand for peace, and I don't care how many men, women, and children I have to kill to make it or whatever. And Harley Quinn turns to Polka Dot Man and is like, I thought you were the crazy one. He's like, I am. Like, it's just, he's a very like self-acknowledging crazy person, and I'm so ready to see that. Anyway, no, I'm really excited about this movie.
Yeah,
it looks so crazy, and just again, I said it last week. James Gunn is the exact right person for this movie.
Yep.
Peacemaker looks like so much fun. Idris Elba just looks like the unironic angry leader.
Yep.
That's funny.
Yep.
By being unironic and angry.
Yeah. A lot of great characters. A lot of them are going to get murdered in horrible ways.
Starro
is in it. I never thought I'd live to see the day that Starro is the villain in a movie.
This is the right way to do Starro.
Yeah.
Just literally like, so do you think that it's going to be, how do you think they're going to do? So there was a shot with Harley Quinn with the flowers going behind her. How do you think that's going to be a thing? Do you think it's going to be just, that's the style, is that there is non-literal stylization imagery in the movie as a whole, or just specifically for Harley Quinn, or maybe in that scene specifically, maybe she's like on acid or something, and that's just what she's experiencing? What do you think that is?
My dear Preston, I've asked myself this question many times. I do not have an answer for you.
Have you really thought about that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because the flowers popped up, and I'm like, wait, is this literal, or are we meant to see this? What's going on here?
I think the way James Gunn directs, I think that's going to be a Harley Quinn specific thing, where it's just kind of like,
maybe it's a star on her face specific thing.
Maybe it's a star on her face specific thing.
Because Starro controls people with like little mind control starfishes that land on their face.
Yeah. No, maybe. But I like the idea of just Harley is just nuts. And anytime she's kind of the subject of any shot, everything's a little weird.
Yeah.
And kind of kooky.
I could see it. That would work too.
So Ratcatcher's a female.
Yep.
Which is not a comic accurate thing, but I'm so for it.
She's officially characterized as Ratcatcher 2, I think. So probably like daughter of.
Yeah, something like that. And I'm all for it. The Weasel. James Gunn must really hate his brother. Or love his brother. If Sean Gunn loves so Sean Gunn plays that. Sean Gunn is also the stand-in for Raccoon.
Yep.
Or Raccoon for Rocket in the Guardians movies.
His mom probably called after the first movie and said, James,
take your brother with you.
Take your brother with you.
Who else was it? What is Michael Rooker's character?
Savant.
Savant, yes. I'm trying to remember if I know. I've read a comic with him in it.
Mm-hmm. We'll dig in more for sure when we get to our death bracket episode.
Right, yeah.
Give you time to do some background research.
Yeah, I need to do some background.
And this trailer, Nathan Fillion, arm fall off boy confirmed.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So is that, like, what's his name in the, like, is it arm fall off boy?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I don't remember that. Like,
I'm looking this up.
Okay. Try to get the full list right now. I just want to do a real quick.
The full list of all the characters. Yeah, Arm Fall Off Boy is the actual comic book
Fall Off Boy
character.
What comics are just so
squad character.
Was he was just standing there with his arms off, wasn't he?
Yeah. So is he like how?
I don't know.
They magnetically attached?
I have no idea.
Sling them?
I have no idea.
Those shoulders?
Like a lizard. Like you grab him by the arm and he's just like, no! And then grows back his arm later. I don't know.
Could be.
No clue.
Let's find out. Full character list. So we know Harley Quinn. We know Idris Elba's playing Bloodsport. We know John Cena's playing Peacemaker.
Yep.
Captain Boomerang, Jai Courtney's back from the original Suicide Squad.
And we've seen his glowing explosions.
Lovely. Peter Capaldi is playing the Thinker with little things coming out of his head. Hope he doesn't have personalized license plates.
I think he's a new guy. I think he's going to be like new about halfway through, and he's going to be way too intelligent. And maybe he's the one that, who knows? Maybe he's the one that figures out how to undo the bombs in their necks and sets them free, and chaos ensues.
Yeah. Alice Braga is playing Sol Soria. Pete Davidson is playing Blackguard.
Yes. Don't know who that is. Man, I gotta read. He chose so many just tiny characters that, like, I can't know them all.
Yep. We talked about David Dastmalchian as Polka Dot Man. I don't know. Guessing. Michael Rooker, Savant. Mei Ling Ing is playing Mongal. TDK was the official, like, when they released the sort of the character roll call thing. Nathan Fillion was playing TDK. People thought it stood for the detachable kid. Fall off boy. Okay. Which is now officially confirmed. Daniela Melchior is going to be Ratcatcher 2.
Yes.
King Shark, I don't remember who's doing like the actual mocap, but Sylvester Stallone's doing the voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Didn't you recognize Hand?
No.
Okay. Sean Gunn, Weasel. Talking about it. Flula Borg is playing Javelin.
Throws javelins.
Cool. Good to know. Couldn't have guessed that. Yeah, that's really it.
All right.
That's the big one.
It's just all such tiny.
Yeah.
And then Rick Flag is playing,
Joel Kinnaman
is playing Joe Kinnaman.
Joel Kinnaman, Rick Flag, Amanda Waller is played by Viola Davis again. Viola Davis. I always say Viola.
Yeah, because you're stupid.
Yep.
I call her Violet. Violet Davis.
More like Violent Davis, am I right?
Anyway, I think we've talked about Suicide Squad enough. It looks like a lot of fun and people are going to die.
Yay!
Hey guys, Preston here. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you liked what you saw here, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you know when we upload these every Thursday. If you want to hear more, we have an unabridged version on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, and any other podcast app. Check us out on Instagram at Justice Losers Pod. See you next week.